Don't be afraid to advocate for yourself and ask for the things that you need to feel safe and comfortable. Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Amina. If you're new here on this channel, I talk all about my journey from leaving the United States to moving abroad, the ups and downs in betweens as a black solo female queer expat slash world traveler. If you want to go on that journey with me, make sure you smash the subscribe button down below. On this video, I'm going to be giving y'all 7 tips that I think are imperative for any solo femme traveler. I think any traveler, but specifically for my solo female travelers. These are tips I haven't really seen on other platforms that I want to give y'all that I have learned during my over a year now of traveling slash being abroad as solo. So let's get into it. Tip number 1. Now this may seem self-explanatory, but I promise you it's not. And it is to make sure you drink water, but especially on travel days. Let me explain. So especially if you are traveling on buses and on like public transportation right now, any type of transportation, honestly. I know for me, there's many times where I forget to drink water simply because right now we are in a pandemic where wearing masks is very important in keeping all of us safe. So when I have my mask on for such a long time, I forget to just kind of take random sips of water like I usually do during the day. I'll do it all the time. I'll forget to drink water for the whole travel day. I'm traveling for like 12 hours on a bus and whatever. And then I'll be dehydrated the next day and I'll feel it. So drink water on travel days. Even if you have to remind yourself, like just take a sip every few hours, put that app notification on your phone, something. It's important. I'm currently making this video from Puerto Viejo, Costa Rica, chilling on a hammock right now, so hope y'all feeling the vibes too. Let me show y'all the view right now. Tip number 2, it's about street food. Now I will tell y'all, I think street food is one of my favorite parts about living abroad. Like you can literally walk down the street and like there's food already ready, it's done, it's cooked, it's great, it tastes good, it's local, and it's cheap. But with that being said, you have to be careful. Now this is a tip that luckily someone gave me early on in my travels, but sometimes I still kind of get in trouble with it. Only eat street food that is hot, like you saw it just recently cooked, or it's decently warm. Now I always say to err on the side of caution, use your best judgment, but I'm being serious with y'all. There's still times where I make sure I ask, oh, is this fresh? And I touch it, it's hot and everything like that. And sometimes I still will get a stomach ache or something depending on what it is. Always have to be careful. Do not avoid the street food by any means, but just be careful, use your best judgment. Trust your gut. Sometimes like, maybe not that one. Go to the next thing. I promise you, there's so much food out here on the streets of whatever country you're in to try. That will be great. Tip number 3, Google Maps is your best friend. Now, a lot of people I have known like that have come traveling have Apple Maps and things like that. Not saying anything against Apple Maps, but Google Maps I think has a lot more stuff on there that can make things a lot easier, and also has a lot more safety features that I personally have used so much since I've been abroad. One big thing is you can use Google Maps a pretty decent amount to help you navigate things, even when you're offline. Even if you don't have Wi-Fi, if you don't have data, you can still use a lot of the features on Google Maps, which I really like. Like I'm showing y'all right now, even if I don't have Wi-Fi, I'm still able to kind of see where I am on the map, and if I save the location, or if that was the last location I had on my map, I'm still able to see how far I am from that location. This is a feature I use all the time. If I'm in an Uber or a taxi and I feel just a little bit sketch, I'm able to follow along even if I don't have Wi-Fi and still be able to see on the map if I'm getting closer to there, if I'm not going to that direction, whatever the case may be. Also, I definitely want to recommend y'all, make sure there's a feature on Google Maps where you can save locations. Make sure you utilize that feature. 9 times out of 10, it will save up what you are seeing. Sometimes it doesn't save all the information, but it'll save the core information so you're able to access it online. And if worse comes to worse, if anything else happens, make sure you take screenshots of your accommodations. If you're on the way traveling to somewhere, you're not sure what time you're going to get there, whatever the case may be, take screenshots so you have the ability to either show the taxi driver the address or whatever the case may be. Tip number 4. Now this is something I did not know before I moved abroad. Maybe it is more commonly known than I think. Not all hostels do it, but a good amount of hostels that I've stayed in or I've seen have a female only dorm. So if you are staying in hostels, if you want to kind of save some money while traveling, but want to, you know, have a certain level of safety, as we all know, can come from just staying in a room with females, other femmes. It's not a perfect solution, but it is a solution at times. You can get female only dorms. Here's the thing. So a tip for it, if you're not going to a hostel that offers this, feel free to ask them that if you are going to a mixed dorm, if they have numerous, if there is one with another female, another femme presenting person, whatever the case may be, just because I know that there's been situations where I was in a room and I was the only girl in the whole room and it was a mixed dorm. So just be sure that if this is a concern for you, if this is something that you want to be considered, you can either put it in the notes when you're making a reservation, you can call ahead and let them know, and when you're checking in, ask, is there a bed in a room with another female, or is there a room that has just so happens to have more femmes than not, whatever the case may be. Don't be afraid to advocate for yourself and ask for the things that you need to feel safe and comfortable. Tip number 5. Now this is something that I feel like some people do overlook, and if you do, more power to you. But when looking for accommodations, when looking up where you want to stay, whether it's a hotel or hostel, whatever, I think more specifically, more importantly, for hostels and Airbnbs, make sure that you are checking the reviews. Now this may seem light, it's like, okay, whatever, because I've met people that are just like, oh, I just look at the pictures and I pick one. While this maybe might work for you, I think it's important to look at the reviews because it will tell you a lot about a place. There's been plenty of places that I'm like, wow, this looks nice, and I've checked the reviews and I'm like, nope, not gonna happen. So make sure you're checking these reviews. The main 3 things I check for when I'm looking at a place's reviews: I'm looking at the cleanliness, I'm looking at the location, I'm looking at anything mentioning about safety. Booking platforms like booking.com, you can filter the words and try to see what people said about certain things. So just think of the things that you need to feel comfortable and safe, and make sure you check out and see if anyone's mentioned those things. Do you need to have a kitchen? Do you need to have 24-hour security or something like that? Many different variables, many different things, all are valid, but just make sure you're checking for those things in the reviews, because a lot of times people are saying what is going on in these places, so that way you can know before you check in and pay that money whether or not you actually want to stay there. Tip number 6, try your best to talk to other people. It's really nice to be able to travel with other solo female travelers at times, just because I tell this to people all the time, it gets exhausting at times to always have to be on guard. When you have that other person that can kind of help you figure out how to navigate places, figure out the time as a bus schedule, figure out the accommodation, whatever the case may be, however y'all set that up, it can take off a lot of stress that usually you are putting on when you are traveling solo, because you have to figure it all out each step every way. Make sure that you're not shying away from taking up the opportunity. Talk to other people in the hostel that you meet. Make sure y'all discuss what it is y'all want from that trip or location, and make sure it matches. Sometimes it's y'all just go together to the transportation, separate from there. Sometimes like, oh, well, I don't have plans for the first couple days, whatever the case may be. Make sure you have the discussions. Do you have plans when you get to this place? Do you already have accommodations booked? All these different things, so that there's no hard feelings, everyone's on the same page. Also, don't be afraid. Sometimes traveling guys has its own benefits too. Either way, use your best judgment, and don't think that just because you go abroad solo that you have to stay solo the whole time. If you want to, that's completely fine. But I think there are lots of opportunities to be able to meet other people and sometimes take that stress away that is there from traveling alone as a solo female. So yeah. Tip number 7. Now this may seem like a giveaway, but I promise you it's not. I've experienced it myself. I've talked to so many other solo female travelers, and it's real. Make sure that you sleep. This may seem like it's like whatever, but I promise you, don't just keep going. You probably will have the wants that once you're in this new place, you're seeing all these new things and all these people, they want to go out, everything like that. You want to see everything, but do not just keep going. If you do not rest your body will make you rest by getting sick or getting hurt. The missed travel day is more worth it than you getting sick and having to figure out how to navigate medical systems and stuff like that abroad. Take your time, get your rest. At the end of the day, you're gonna have a much better time if you're doing things and listening to your body, as opposed to trying to go against it, because I'm telling you, it'll take you out. Mine has taken me out before. And I'm like, okay, I get it. I'll do better. But yeah, listen to your body and make sure you rest. All right, peeps. So this is a bonus one. I actually feel like I've told to a lot of other solo female travelers since I've been abroad. So I think this is very useful if you're in South America, Latin America in general. So the bonus tip is, don't be afraid to be stern with taxi drivers. So here's the 2 things. taxi drivers. Most times out of 10 in Latin America, taxi drivers have to have a certain licensing and stuff like that. And there's things that can be done to remove that licensing. They can be reported. In some countries, it's almost a 3-strike rule. So many different things. Now, here's the thing. I'm not saying to go around willy-nilly, like trying to threaten people with their jobs or whatever like that. But what I am saying is that you do have a little bit more structure with taxis and stuff like that than you do with someone random person on the street. So if a taxi driver is giving you a hard time, you know they're scamming you, you know they're giving you a high price, don't be afraid to just say no, walk away. Don't be afraid to say, do you have another price? Is it possible to minimize the price? Now this can be definitely easier if you are fluent or conversational in Spanish. I know for me, I'm not fluent in Spanish, but can kind of talk about these different things, be like, eso es el mínimo precio, or you know, like stuff like that. Now, for me personally, my go-to for when it's random people on the street, I'm talking about there will be homeless people or people that are either asking for money, asking for food, whatever. It is a pandemic where you have hit really hard times. With that being said, you have to also, as much as I personally like to help people and want to be there and whatever and advocate for others, I also have to advocate for myself and my own safety. So for example, if someone comes up to me and it's, to be honest, depending on how someone comes up to me, depends on if I'm willing to engage in a conversation. If they come up to me in an aggressive way, they come up to me in a way that just like seems like they're not even like have any regard for my autonomy or my space or my boundaries, I'm going to avoid eye contact and keep walking. There's times where like I'm approached by people or a family, whatever, and I'll give money, or I see someone, whatever. So I'm not saying don't give money to people. I'm saying is be aware of your surroundings and be aware that your safety and your autonomy is important as well. If you feel called to give. If you don't, it's completely okay to keep walking. If you do feel safe enough to say no thank you or no, then that's fine. I think also this also varies depending on how you present in the world. I will tell you my confidence with this has substantially changed since I have cut my hair, because I just feel like the way I'm approached, the way people interact with me is a lot different. So I think this is something important to think about too. It's important to find that balance between advocating for yourself and safety. Use your best judgment. If something doesn't feel right, it probably is not right. Honor your feelings, honor how you feel, and make sure that you make decisions that will keep you safe and comfortable, because you deserve to see the world, even if it's solo. All right, beautiful people, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support me in the channel, make sure you check the links in the description down below. If you have any questions about traveling solo, if you have any questions in general about this journey, make sure you drop them down below in the comment section. Thank you again for watching. If you're thinking about traveling solo as a female and you're looking for a sign, this is your sign. Do it. Book that trip. If you wait for other people to travel, you might be waiting for a long time. Don't wait to go see the world. You deserve to see all the beauty it holds. On that note, thank y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.